Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, today, I know what you guys are feeling. A little down, a little out. Why is Bitcoin hovering around 60,000? Well, I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why Bitcoin is dumping right now, okay? And more importantly, is it going to stop? So, let's talk about it. And talk about everything else that happened today in the world of crypto. All right, let's do this. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you look at Bitcoin right now, 60,200, 60,300, right? So barely clinging on to $60,000. This morning, I think we were a little bit higher. I forget what level, 61, 62, and then we climbed a little lower, right? So what exactly is happening right now? Hey, and by the way, you know, Hong Kong has opened, so are we going to see some buying from their institutions? I got a little more info about that as well. So what's going on? Well, I've hammered this and hammered this some more. So everyone's waiting to see what Fed Chair Powell is going to do tomorrow. People are just wondering, is he going to turn super hawkish? Is he going to remain level-headed? Or, you know, I don't know, he just goes crazy, right? No one really knows at this point. Everyone's trying to speculate what he's going to do. So this is definitely a reason why we're showing a lot of weakness right now, because a lot of people are fearful that he's going to turn very hawkish, remove some of the rate cuts he had planned, and some are even worried that maybe he's thinking about rate hikes because of the rising inflation, right? So I've hammered on this point for a few days now, but it's finally coming. So tomorrow is the FOMC meeting, and I may stream it. I haven't done so for a while, right? But tomorrow's will probably be one of the most important ones that we have this year, okay? Because everyone, including the reporters, I'm hoping the reporters prepare and ask them some really good questions, because Powell's stuck between a rock and hard place right now, okay? That's exactly where he is, and no one knows how he's going to get himself out, right? So that is number one, I believe, okay? One of the biggest reasons why U.S. market wasn't doing too hot today, Bitcoin came down today, and so forth, right? And something else that relates to this is, look at this. McDonald's reported, and McDonald's said that, hey, low-income consumers are starting to crack due to inflation. Inflation is not transitory. It's sticky. Even McDonald's prices are going up. Either that or food, like the menu, is getting smaller. It's really a combination of both. If you look at like a double cheeseburger from McDonald's, it's way smaller than years ago, and it costs more. So this is exactly what Powell has to deal with, okay? Not only are people starting to spend less, they're penny pinching more, but inflation has been entrenched now, so everything seems to be more expensive, right? So this is exactly what Powell has to deal with. How to get consumers to start spending more, but not increase inflation. It seems like that's an impossible task, but that's what he has to solve. That's why Wall Street is so worried about what he's going to say, because it's basically impossible, right? So anyways, what else happened today? Well, unfortunately, a ton of liquidations also happened today. In fact, 300 million. I told you guys it's been rough. It's been rough with leverage, but today extra rough because we broke through some levels that a lot of people didn't think we were going to break. So look at all the liquidations here. 57 million, 34, 39, 13, 31, 47, right? A ton of liquidations. So that definitely contributed. See, we need the opposite. We need short liquidations. We need short squeezes, not long squeezes. But there are a lot of people that don't believe that Bitcoin will go lower. They keep timing it, trying to time it, thinking it's going to go up, right? And that unfortunately has led to more liquidations and more downward pressure. So that also happened today, which is unfortunate, right? Like I've shared my new strategy with leverage, and it somewhat works, except if you leave a stop gap really close to the price, you're going to get stopped out. And if you get stopped out a few times, you're still losing a lot of money. So I may have to adjust it, but rather than try to, throw like a 15, 20, 25x, if you throw something reasonable like a 2 or 3 or 4x, you're not going to get liquidated. But of course, when the market downturns like this, you're still going to get hurt somewhat. But at least you won't get liquidated. But if you're setting a stop gap really low, really close to price, you're going to get stop gap out a lot. And that unfortunately leads to losses too. So I'm going to adjust that. Again, just me. I don't recommend leverage. But if you happen to play with it, be careful. It is very, very, very rocky out there with a lot of volatility. All right, so that also happened today. What else happened today? Well, unfortunately, ETF inflows seems like it's negative too. So this is one of the reasons. Okay, BlackRock has not had any inflow for 4 days now. At least they're not selling. Larry Fink is stubborn. He's like, you know what? We got all this Bitcoin. We are not selling during this bull run, no matter what. But some of the others have been, and Grayscale continues to sell. So I don't know the exact numbers, but it's probably in the negative once again, right? So this also contributed. So we have like the kind of trifecta here, okay? But, according to Hodl 15 Capital, he updated his spreadsheet. This looks really good. And you can see overall, BlackRock is still holding $17 billion of the Bitcoin. Fidelity is still close to $10 billion. You got a lot of major fund companies. And one thing in particular, now you can see, are the ETFs from Hong Kong, including one that did add about 2,000 Bitcoin yesterday. That's about $122 million. And you have another one that added 964 Bitcoin. Still, that's close to $61 million. Now, they don't sound impressive. They don't sound like the billions that some of these other funds have. But, you know what? According to Eric, that 123 million that China AMC Bitcoin ETF took in was the 6th largest in the past 3 years when it comes to all the ETFs that they launched, right? So actually, it was really successful. It's just that the liquidity and the amount of money in Hong Kong right now, just not nearly as big as Wall Street. Wall Street is still dominating, okay, with their trillions upon trillions upon trillions. But it does show you there's still interest in Hong Kong. It could still build up. And as we recover and FOMO kicks in again, it's just going to be an amplifier to what we have already, right? So overall, that's pretty positive. So bottom line, with all this data that I'm sharing with you guys, so what does this mean overall? Can Bitcoin still go down more? Are we going to find a bottom and flip around, right? So let me show you guys this. Would it even be a bull market without 20% pullbacks? Okay. And you could see how much pullbacks we had over the years. And yes, they're all happening during bull runs, during recovery times. Okay. So again, if you want to look at things in a positive light, think about this. We're having this pullback because of how much we ran up. This morning I showed. Prior to April, we had 7 consecutive up months. We never had that in Bitcoin's history. We never had 7 consecutive green months. So it only makes sense that we take a breather every so often. That's why we see so many 20% pullbacks, right? So this is healthy. This is normal. In fact, this would be encouraged by most, because if you have somebody that just continues to do this forever, you know what's going to happen? It's going to do the exact same thing in the opposite direction much sooner than it should, right? So this is actually quite healthy. And some of the things I've named today, like for example, the Fed, right? So we'll see what he says tomorrow. If he doesn't turn out to be as hawkish or as bearish as some people think, the market's going to come right back up. Maybe he's just going to continue course and say, hey, you know what? We're still going to have 3 cuts. We may have to delay a little bit, but you know what? One economic data is not going to sway us from our plans. If he says something really encouraging and positive or dovish like that, hey, markets will climb right back up. We're not that far off from our all-time high, right? So sentiment changes very quickly with crypto from bullish to bearish and could be bullish almost within a matter of days, okay? So just to let you guys know, this is quite normal. And if you're thinking about, well, if Bitcoin continues to go down, is it going to bounce sometime, right? Well, a lot of charters are wondering the same thing. And here's the interesting thing. We had this bounce. We kind of had this dip and bounce, that 20% dip. Last time we had it was back in January of this year. Okay, we saw Bitcoin go from like 46,000 all the way down to like sub 40,000, so like 30-something thousand. We saw a pretty good 20% dip, and we bounced off of this EMA 100 line. And guess where we are? We're right there. We bounced off. So are we going to see the same thing? We fell down about 20%. Are we going to bounce just like in January and just like all the other times? Maybe. We may be going sideways for 3, 4, 5 months. Okay, so just prepare yourself that, hey, maybe we don't move for 3, 4, 5 months. But when the time is right, when we hit September or October and things start moving, you'll be glad that you held and continue to DCA. And that's how it is always. Just like in 2023. Basically, from the beginning of 2023 to September 2023, Bitcoin did not move. We had basically 9 months of non-movement. And guess what happened in September? Boom. We started shooting up from 20,000 to 30,000 to 40,000 to 50,000 to 60,000 to 70,000. And it never stopped, right? But imagine if you got discouraged and you got out of the market, you would have missed out on a whole lot of gains. And it's probably the same thing. And I'm not even saying that this will happen, but it could. Or maybe after the Fed meeting tomorrow, things start skyrocketing and this is all nonsense. And it's just a blip in the road. It could be, right? We just don't know. But there are so many great stuff happening in the space. And I think you guys know that, okay? The fundamentals of Bitcoin and the fundamentals of crypto have not changed. They really haven't. The price has changed, but the fundamentals have not. All right, so outside of this, there's a couple of big news that also happened today. Some good, some not good. Number one, Coinbase now integrates Bitcoin Lightning Network. That's fantastic. That means in the future, when you're sending Bitcoin from one wallet to another or from one account to another, right? It's going to be a lot cheaper. So they're going to use Lightning Network, which means it's going to be lightning fast, hence the name, and lightning quick, and super cheap. So this has been in the works for a long, long time. All the major exchanges and wallets are trying to adopt Lightning Network to make things even faster and better, right? So part of growing fundamentals, I would say, you know, a little upgrade doesn't hurt anyone. What else happened today? Well, unfortunately, CZ foretold his prison sentence. So, unfortunately, CZ is now facing jail time. 4 months, which isn't too bad. It's not 4 years or anything like that. But I think he got duped. He probably thought that when he came to the his prior agreement, his prior settlement that he was allowed to leave and he wouldn't face any jail time. Not only did they not allow him to leave, they denied bail, and now they gave him 4 months of prison time. So that also happened. And the funny thing is, well, it's not really funny, but what's interesting is CZ will be the wealthiest person ever to serve time in federal prison. According to this, he is worth about $43 billion, and he still has that. So after the 4 months, which I'm assuming is going to fly by for him, it's going to be a minimum security, prison. He's get to enjoy his $43 billion scot-free, no worries about prosecution anymore. So good for him, I guess. It's bad and it's good. No one ever wants to go to prison. And then also, this is out of left field. Roger Ver, who I just met in Dubai, he attended a karate combat. He told me he was interested in fighting in the IFC. Unfortunately, he got detained in Spain because the Department of Justice is charging him with mail fraud, tax evasion, filing false tax returns. So he is going to be extradited to the U.S. to face these charges out of the blue. All this time has passed, and now they're going after him, right? Just quite weird. Really weird. But unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be fighting in the IFC no more. All right. That's pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let's see here. Scrolling up. Superfood Kid says, you're the best. I appreciate that. Arnold said Chick-fil-A is good. It tastes good. Not sure it's that healthy. Jesse says, no Lambo. Keeping my bus pass. That's probably a good idea for now. I remember you said ETFs will pump it past 100K. Don't worry. There's still time, Barry. Scott says Cadena and ICP has the worst charts. I don't disagree with you there. Let's see. Ron Paul 69 says, yup, we needed a pullback. That is right. Skillful DSL says, Cadena is hot city dumpster garbage juice. All right. Look at Brett on base fam. Brett, not Brett. Brit. Yeah, down 20%. That is no good. That chart doesn't look very good. No recovery at all. Okay, I'm not gonna repeat some of these comments about CZ. All right, when OnlyFans? I don't know. When I get very desperate, I guess. Please look at dip, aka buy the dip meme on CoinGecko monthly burns. Why on CoinGecko? Is it on here? Dip. There's too many dips here. I don't even know which one it is. Sorry. Please look at a chart of Velo. What do you want me to look at? 1 year looks pretty good. All time looks horrible. See, that's the difference between when you look at 1 year, you're like, oh, okay, it's up 481%. That looks good. And then you look at all time, it's still down 96%. So it doesn't even register because it's so low. Yeah, so Federico doesn't look very good. Jason, if Bitcoin does move sideways 45 months, do you think Solana will still hit 1,000 by the end of this year? That's a good question. Depends on how fast Bitcoin moves in 45 months. If it blows through 100K, heads to 120, 130 by the end of the year, Solana could definitely be up there. Maybe not to 1,000, but maybe it could be at 500, you know, something like that. Look at Marianne CoinGecko. Sorry, man. I don't look at CoinGecko. If it's not on CMC or Dex Tools, I will skip it. Ron says I'm still adding to my big red. Awesome. Skid OG meme, not a call. Okay. Success Kid. How long do you go shill S Kid before you give up on it? Are you bullish on Midas this cycle? I'm neutral. I did learn a little bit about Midas. I talked to BD from Midas. They are most decentralized L2 out there, according to them. They have the support of Vitalik's mom, obviously. But I don't know if I'm that bullish on them. But I'm keeping my eyes on them. Yo, the yen is crashing 160 again. Where's it going? I have no idea. Yen is doing horrible against the USD. Horrible. What's your take on scale? How do you think it's going to do? It's another L2. Focus more on DeFi. So kind of like Midas, they're around the same spot. There are a lot of L2s that are like kind of all like fighting it out. So I don't know which ones are going to win out. Right now, Base is winning out because of the memes. Optimism and Arbitrum, they already won. And then you got a new kid on the block called Blast I don't hear much about. And then you have a lot of others like Midas and Scale. And they're all fighting for, you know, third or fourth or fifth place. They could all do well, in fact. In a bull run, in a parabolic cycle, generally speaking, all these pump up. I think tomorrow could be a big turning day. Okay. If Powell says something somewhat encouraging, a little bit encouraging, a little bit positive, right? The markets can go up in a big way. I think right now, everyone's expecting the worst because they think he has an impossible task and they don't know what he's going to do. And maybe he's going to go real hawkish, right? But if he doesn't, things will turn around really quickly. I mean, Bitcoin is down 20% from its high. It is due some kind of bounce is due, right? Could certainly happen. Man, these next 18 months are going to be life-changing fun. Chris Klein, hello. I'm expecting a worse because BlackRock, not the Fed. Well, BlackRock is not the problem right now. BlackRock is not selling. Okay, now, Grayscale is the problem child. They continue to sell, or whoever owns Grayscale shares continues to sell. That's the problem right now. Or one, I take it back, one of the problems. And they just, they just keep selling and selling and selling. Opinion on cocking you. Do you think it's still possible for market cap to reach 1 billion? Yeah, considering there's still like 200-300 million, yes. That's only like a 3x for them. Sol and Federer and big bags. What are your thoughts? I like them, especially Sol. And I think Fed will do very well. I just don't know how they're going to do once they merge with Singularity and Ocean. Alex. Hello, George from the Big Red community. Hello. And we need some kind of bounce here to make it exciting. We bounced up to here, right? Kind of expected it to go bounce a little bit higher, but then we kind of quickly came down, and I'm wondering if it will retest or bounce up, right? But again, this is when you're zoomed in. When you're zoomed out, okay, you realize, yeah, we hit these levels before. We hit it here, we hit it here, and we hit it. This was the 18th, so this was only a couple weeks ago. So we did hit this level before, okay? Not like we haven't seen this before, but it kind of sucks when we're down 20% from top, I know. But overall, we are still just going sideways. Tomorrow will be very, very, very telling story, okay? Where the market is going to go will be determined tomorrow by one man. He's under a lot of pressure. I bet he won't be able to sleep today, okay? You have a slowing economy with high inflation. What is he going to do that's going to solve both? How can you get consumers to start spending again and not raise inflation any further? It seems like it's an impossible task. So we'll see what he says. Does that mean cutting rates is still the right idea? I think so. But when will the first rate cut start? No one knows. No one knows. All right, guys. Let's conclude there. I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good night. Stay strong. Stay focused. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.